Hello and welcome back to another episode of our Let's Look At series, where we will continue today with the Deities and Demigods Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And as you can see, I'm wearing sleeves because it is really cold out. I'm actually wearing my Critical Role of Axeldon cloak. But we're going to go, and I said I was only going to do like one part per book, but I figured I'd do more than that. Well, I just hit my entire desk and it almost collapsed. And we'll do the Babylon mythos. The origins of Babylonian mythology are extremely ancient. Because of this, misconceptions, duality among the gods and goddesses, and similarities between their deities and those of other pantheons exist. In formulating this list for your use, we have consulted many sources, and some of these conflict with each other. This version is designed to be close to historically accurate and still playable in AD&D terms. So we'll start with Anu. This god appears as a man. A strong breeze constantly blows in the direction of his gaze. Beings casting things on this god must make a saving throw against disintegration at -4 for both the being and the thing cast. His voice is the voice of all leaders, and any being must make a saving throw versus magic at -4 to resist his commands. He can summon any dragon type except for the king and queen and any other types of dragon royalty, is to fight for him once a week per dragon type. He uses a brass mace in battle that strikes for 2 to 20 points of damage plus his bonus of 7 points. Anu is said to have created the heavens and the earth. All the other Babylonian gods bow to his authority. And we have Anshar. What? Where's Anshar? What? It just disappears? No, there it is. I was confused. This is Babylonian mythos, so I thought it was continuing of that. It's Anshar. This deity always appears as a dark-skinned human and only appears at night or in deep darkness. He casts his darkness beam for a maximum range of 300 yards. Once per melee round, and this ray affects any flesh for 40 points of damage per strike. Body parts hit may never be regenerated or healed. Anshar can only teleport into areas of shadow or darkness. The god is unaffected by any source of light or light reflector. The god can grasp spells out of the air as they pass or hit him, and save these spells as a ring of spell storing, or toss them back right away. He can alter one spell effect per melee round in this manner, and the chosen spell will have no effect on him. When preparing for battle, he usually stores one of every 9th level spell given to him by some other god, so that he starts out with something to cast. This storing or returning ability comes from a godly attribute and lets him sense what spells are passing through his area. There is a 200 spell level storage limit to this attribute. Jeez, man. I know they're gods, but jeez. The Hawk. Sorry, I was yawning. This monster has no corporeal form unless it is attacking with its bite. The rest of the time it is ethereal. It appears to the world as a huge 3-headed dragon. It will only eat the flesh of lawful or good creatures, and it never goes hungry. The monster can breathe any type of dragon breath at any time, but the creature enjoys crunching things with its teeth. It is able to negate any magical device permanently with a touch of all 3 of its heads at the same time. Okay. Druaga. This being generally appears to anyone the same way. This being generally never appears to anyone the same way twice. The creature's real form has 8 arms ending in talons, is scaled with ruby red hide, and has 4 legs ending in snaky masses. While the head is that of a beautiful boy, the combination is so hideous that it will often cause enemies to be paralyzed with fear. It can shape change at will, call on any type of devil, except for the archdevils, once a day in a number from 2 to 20, and it is not affected by breath weapons from any creature. Draga only fights in person when his soul object, always put in a living being, is threatened. The soul object is the total essence of his being. If Draga's bodily form is destroyed, the soul object will begin regenerating a whole new being with all the memories of the old devil. The human that has Draga's soul implanted in him or her has no knowledge of this and will die at the same time the devil's body dies, so that when the human's body is buried, there will be a safe place for the new devil to grow. Draga will very occasionally send a group of devils out to aid his worshippers, especially those that have recently sacrificed a virgin to their deity. His mace deals 35 points of damage every time it hits, and turns all things it hits into devils, random type, under his command if they do not make their magic saving throw. Then we have Gilgamesh. That's a familiar name, and it's underlined. Whoever had this book, underlined certain things. Weird. This hero of legend was the warrior / necromancer / high priest ruler of his land. He is noted for going out and getting things done when others were unable. When his +2 mace is able to hit with brutal force, 2 to 20, Gilgamesh loves to attack by wrestling, and stories abound of him wrestling a mighty bowl of God to destruction. Gilgamesh is a great king, noted for his tyrannical rule. Although he governs well and maintains peace, he uses his authority to satisfy his personal pleasures. He is a great lover of all types of earthly pleasure. He is stubborn and prefers the direct method for solving problems whenever possible. He is a great wrestler, and using this attack made in preference to all others. Okay, yeah. Gilgamesh has a great fear of death. If he learns of any way to avoid death, he will do whatever is required to gain it. One oddity, however, is that his fear of death seldom occurs to him when facing a terrible foe. At such time, his courage will hearten him, and he will fight without wavering. Up next is Giru. Giru usually manifests himself as a man. He hates all things evil and will destroy such whenever he comes in contact with them. The god casts all fire spells as 40th level magic user, and is himself totally unaffected by fire. He can shape change and teleport, though only to places with flame in the area. I lost my place. All those that come within 10 feet of him will suffer 10 points of damage per melee round from heat. No saving throw. He fights with a mace that deals 1 to 8 plus 12 points for his strength, plus a poison bar breaks off the mace and is embedded in the victim with each hit. Save versus poison at -4. His +3 axe hits for 2 to 20, plus his strength bonus, plus the target must save versus petrification or be stunned for 2 to 8 rounds. Any weapon that touches the god's body will disintegrate. No saving throw applicable. This happens after the damage has been done by the weapon. Another familiar name, Ishtar. Ishtar never appears to her worshippers in any form than that of a beautiful woman. She has the strength of a titan, the ability to shape change at will, and she uses her voice as a constant suggestion spell. She wears the headdresses of love and war. When she's interested in a male, the headdresses forces him to become passionately in love with the wearer. No saving throw applicable. But she must really be interested in that male. When fighting an enemy, this headdress gives the wearer the same powers her enemy has. Ishtar drives a flying chariot pulled by 7 enchanted lions. The lions have 50 hit points each, an armor class of -2, 11 hit dice, attack for 1 to 8 damage, and cannot be controlled by any being using magic or otherwise except for the goddess herself. The chariot travels at a speed of 21, and when in the chariot, no metal can touch the goddess. I was yawning, sorry. She is able to cast 2 spells per melee round, and when facing beings that are not affected by magic, she strikes with a blue crystal rod that is able to transform any spell level into direct energy times 10. Ergo, she's able to strike for 90 points of damage when expending a 9th level spell through the rod, and 10 points when using a 1st level spell through the rod. She is limited to the number and level of spells she can cast as a 15th level cleric / 25 level magic user. Marduk. This god is one of the few non-human appearing beings in the pantheon. He is always shown with 4 eyes, 4 arms, flames shooting from his mouth when he speaks, and a reddish tinge to his skin. He occasionally assumes the leadership role of the Babylonian gods when Anu is preoccupied. This god can borrow any single ability from any one other deity in this pantheon. No saving throw applicable. And use it as he sees fit. This ability is effective on anything within sight of the god and can be given back at any time from any distance. In battle, he uses a net made of the 4 winds that, when striking, binds a target until Marduk releases the net. The strands cannot be broken, but the god must remain within 50 feet of the net at all times for it to function. The god may create any type of weather condition in an instant and summon 20 dice lightning bolts from the sky or any time. Marduk is called the Justice Bringer and the Lord of Pure Incantations. His battles with Tiamat are legendary. Nurgle. This deity rules over all things that are dead and never uses any form but a human one. His favorite tactic is to revive the 5 most powerful dead enemies of his foes, or when he 5 most powerful dead enemies of his foe or foes and have them fight for him. When he goes into personal combat, he uses a night black shield that is both a weapon and a means of defense. The shield has a bonus of +5 when in use. No being can attack the god from behind. It also casts a death spell aura, saving throw applicable, in a 30-foot radius around the god, and no spell of less than 8th level can affect the user of the shield. His worshippers, those that wish success in evil deeds, sacrifice good creatures on his altar of black basalt, or dedicate the proceeds of evil actions to the church in a type of promised sacrifice. And I think this is the last one out. Yep, last one. Raman. Ramaman. I don't know. Raman. This god appears on the earth in human form with a massive build and a rather homely face. When anything hits him, sparks will fly, doing 30 points of damage to anything within 3 of his body. No saving throw applicable. His lightning bolts are cast 2 per round and do 30 points of damage each. Spells must be 5th level or greater to affect him. His +4 ring mail is made out of cloud vapor, and his mallet, 10 feet long, is often thrown, doing 30 points of damage every time it hits. It returns by itself to Ramon's hand. This weapon is usually only used against creatures that resist his lightning strike. His neutral worshippers always perform their services at night, but there are many other beings who wish rain that are not of his alignment, and they usually sacrifice expensive liquids to the god to bring on the rain for their crops, or just to bring cooler weather. And that's the end of Babylonian. I think that's where we'll call it for today, and we'll start with Celtic mythos on Wednesday. So if you enjoyed what you saw, consider leaving a like and subscribing. And if you comment, I don't reply to all the comments, but I do read them all. So thanks for watching.